Today, we'll learn of different sunken land masses in the known world and focus on the continent of Mu and all the relics, structures, and conspiracies involved. A one-stop shop to learn everything Mu. To start things off in the submerged or sunken landmass category, we have half of the famed continent of Mu, which is today's main topic. Here we have the Isle of Demons between Labrador and Newfoundland in Canada. This is one of the possible locations for Atlantis in the Azores. It has mostly sunk beneath the waves, with only the high mountaintops still visible above sea level, exactly like the remnants of the continent of Mu. Above it, we have Friesland, which appears on the Hyperborean map of Dryas Mercator from 1595 and others. This will be covered in a full dedicated episode in the near future. Here is High Brazil and Doggerland on either side of the United Kingdom. Down here we have another huge sunken landmass known as Lemuria. And up here we have Sanikov land in the Russian Arctic. Down here we have Sandy Island and Zealandia, and of course the second half of the famed continent of Mu. In some cases, cartographers intentionally included fabricated geographic locations on their maps as a way to catch plagiarists. See if you can spot the non-existent mystery island on my map, which could become your map. Prints and posters will be available for purchase in the near future. The continent of Mu. Giants, megaliths, UFOs, pyramids, anomalies, portals, and more recently, radioactive sites. The beginning of time when living beings first started living on our planet's surface was 450,000 years ago with the arrival of the Anunnaki. The oldest recorded history is from the Kish tablet from the Sumerians from 5,500 years ago, which doesn't make much sense considering that Göbekli Tepe was completely covered 13,000 years ago before the arrival of a cluster of comet shards that smashed into our planet. But that's a story for another time. Our story starts somewhere in the middle with the Toba supervolcano located in Indonesia, not unlike the Yellowstone supervolcano located in Wyoming that poses an existential risk not only to the US but to the entire world. Erupted 74,000 years ago in present-day Indonesia, leaving only 3,000 to 10,000 humans left on the planet's surface. The inner Earth dwellers were surely unaffected, minus closing the air shafts as they do now due to our polluted atmosphere. Now that the world has been reset, begins the Age of Mu. Mu was one of the largest, most spiritual, knowledgeable, and technologically advanced empires in the world. They even founded Atlantis, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Mu flourished for tens of thousands of years. One government, one spirituality, 10 tribes equaling 64 million people on a large continent with 7 major cities, with one of the cities being Nan Madol that I covered in the last episode. Just like the European Age of Discovery, the Mu people, also known as the Naacals, expanded outwards, exploring the world beyond their continent, establishing satellite settlements that developed into their own empires, leading to a global civilization. The explorer colonizers would later be recognized as the Olmecs in Mesoamerica, the Naacals Brotherhood in Lemuria and India, the Chavin de Hontar and Norte Chico pre-Inca cultures from Peru, the Amazonians in Brazil and Bolivia, the Maui of Easter Island and New Zealand, and even the Japanese from Japan. To this day, the Japanese see themselves as descendants from the gods. The Naacals also had a significant impact on the ancient Egyptians, ancient Greeks, and the North American coast, sharing wisdom, knowledge, spiritual beliefs, megalith building techniques, i.e. pyramids, and more. In Egypt, the sun god, supreme solar deity ruling over sky, earth, and the underworld is of course Ra, which is also the name of the leader of the Naacals on the continent of Mu. Coincidence? I think not. The time has come for the end of the world. It's not really the end, more like a new beginning, because now is the time for the pole shift. According to NASA, the Earth's magnetic field has flipped its polarity several times over the millennia. They assure us that it happens over hundreds or thousands of years, but can we really trust NASA? On the other side of the coin, there's the Earth crust displacement theory, i.e. pole shift. That's when the Earth's crust undergoes rapid and dramatic shifts. The Earth's crust, including continents and ocean floors, move as a single unit, resulting in changes in the geographic and magnetic poles. The North and South poles move to new locations on the planet. On the seventh day, everything reverts back to its original position. The mechanism for these rapid shifts can be triggered by massive earthquakes or celestial objects like asteroids. Just like how the younger Dryas period started. More on that later. For now, just know that the earth convulsed in the thunderous tumult of volcanic fury, spewing forth its fiery wrath. Veils of ash and smoke enshrouded the sun, casting an ominous pall over a land teetering on the precipice of its own demise. The ground trembled as coastal waves, monstrous and unrelenting, surged with a voracious hunger, invading the land once adorned by a thriving civilization, now condemned to oblivion. Amidst the unrelenting devastation, a glimmer of survival held on. Some, fueled by desperation, dared to ascend mountains, a feeble attempt to escape the pandemonium swallowing the world. A futile defiance against nature's unwavering wrath. Others sought refuge on boats and vimanas. Many perished, while few endured aimless wanderings. Some spiritual leaders were blessed with premonitions, urgently directing them to flee the impending catastrophe. Many of whom ended up in an entirely different ocean, where a new landmass had arisen. Just like the explorers of old, the Olmecs, the Maui, and the Mount Shasta colonizers had brought with them everything needed to start their new empires. From there on out, the pole shift survivors would be known as the Atlanteans. Fortunately, not all of Mu had sunk beneath the waves. The giant landmass had broken up into a large-scale archipelago born from the chaos of seismic cataclysms. Haunted by the memory of their shattered homeland, many from the broken continent seek refuge across the world. They scatter to satellite settlements from the mystical realms of Mesoamerica to the soils of Peru. The lands of Lemuria call to their souls, offering a chance for spiritual renewal. Some ended up in Japan, the Amazon, Alaska, California, and even Antarctica. A contingent of Naacals made their way to Egypt, utterly distinct from the desert expanse of modern-day Egypt. With verdant greenery, lush forests, and meandering rivers that weave through the landscape. Here, the construction of the pyramid is underway, guided by pre-existing Naacal knowledge. Using advanced flying technology, the Naacals become the architects and builders of these colossal structures. The pyramids serve not only as architectural marvels, but as powerful energy stations. Harnessed from the earth, the atmosphere, and the cosmos. But I'll go more into this on the upcoming on-location Bosnian pyramid episode. Their design, impervious to future cataclysms, ensures the preservation of knowledge and resources for generations to come. The influence of the Naacals extended far beyond Egypt as their knowledge rippled across their satellite settlements, now burgeoning into formidable empires. This dissemination of wisdom explains the striking similar pyramid designs that emerged in diverse corners of the world. These remarkable structures served as energy conduits, repositories of knowledge, and beacons of unity. Recognizing that relying on a single pyramid to survive future cataclysms held uncertain odds, the Naacals ingeniously built these enduring edifices not only in Egypt and Mesoamerica, but also in present-day Greece, the Azores, India, Antarctica, and many other places where their legacies took root. It's a good thing they did, as the earth is chock full of cataclysmic events. Now I'll introduce, then quote a passage from Chan Thomas's book that was classified by the CIA. The book presents evidence of a coming pole shift that leads to a cataclysm. This is a repeating cycle. Basically, a disaster wipes out almost all of human life, and we, humans, start over in the Stone Age. The world has been reset. This book was published in 1993 and only declassified by the CIA in 2013. Although only 50 pages from the original have been released, it's still definitely worth checking out. You can download the PDF in the video description. Without further ado, now is the time to put all those Naacal pyramids to the test. For now is the time of the end of the world again. Introducing the Younger Dryas period as introduced by Chan Thomas in his now partially declassified book, The Adam and Eve Story, The History of Cataclysms. Dun dun dun. While this shift was occurring, taking only 1/4 to half a day to complete itself, the Earth's oceans and atmosphere, through angular momentum, kept rotating in their normal direction during most of the shift, with the oceans violently inundating most of the lands at supersonic speeds. The atmosphere bringing unimaginable hurricanes at supersonic wind velocities. Whole continents were subjected to tremendous upheavals and massive earthquakes. Huge mountain ranges were created. The 60-mile thick molten layer below the 60-mile thick shell of the Earth broke through the shell in places all over the world and was thereafter called Earth Fire by the pitiful few that survived. Pitiful few? The whole Earth? Best estimates are less than 1% of all life on Earth. The oceans and the winds took 6 days after the start of the cataclysm to stop their holocaustic wars on the surface of the Earth. On the seventh day began to settle down to about 5,000 years of normal activity and complacency. The 2-mile, 3.2-kilometer thick ice cap of the Laurentian basins and the Indian Ocean, having shifted from their polar homes, started a new course of revolving equatorially, proceeded to melt at tremendous speeds in the torrid heat, carving great grooves in the mountains as the rushing, gushing, swirling water and ice overwhelmed everything, shrouding the torrid zone in a dark fog for many years during several generations. The oceans rose 200 to 300 feet, or 61 to 91 meters, all over the world with the sudden melting of the ice caps, as they do with every cataclysm. Now back to the Naacals story. In Egypt, the pyramids and the Sphinx were already ancient by the time of subsequent generations, shrouded in an air of timelessness, and their original builders became lost in the annals of history. The enigmatic absence of pyramid building hieroglyphs within Egypt's ancient records stand as a testament to the disconnect between the pyramid's creation and the era that followed, with the monumental structures already present in the landscape. Later civilizations had no first-hand knowledge and thus left no carved accounts on record. The profound legacy of the Naacals persisted as an enigma, fueling speculation and wonder for ages to come. Similarly, the Olmec-built pyramids, standing as silent sentinels in the lands of Mesoamerica, were discovered by the Maya generations later, bearing witness to a lineage of builders now faded into the mists of time. The Naacal legacy, etched into these enduring monuments, continued to shape the destiny of civilizations, even when the memory of the originators had receded into the realm of myth and legend. As the Naacals' influence spanned continents and cultures, a portion of their people had returned to the once grand continent of Mu, the landmass now but a shattered expanse transformed into a shattered archipelago, with pockets of life spread across several islands. Simultaneously, the story of Earth's inhabitants was taking another extraordinary turn, due to another race of extraterrestrial beings known as the Anunnaki, which had descended upon the planet. These celestial visitors, hailing from Nibiru, also known as Planet X, brought with them advanced genetic engineering techniques. They altered the genetic makeup of Earth's life forms to create a new race, humans, designed to serve as workers in their quest to mine for gold. These Anunnaki needed the precious metal to send back to their home planet through portals like the ones in present-day Peru, Sri Lanka, and Egypt. Stricken by nuclear war, their planet's atmosphere was in ruins, and spreading gold particles in their orbit was their method of protecting themselves. We're also losing our atmosphere, and in 2018, Earth scientists suggested hanging reflective particles above the Earth in orbit to cancel out some effects from our sun. Great minds think alike. Intriguingly, both the Naacals and the Anunnaki, each with celestial origins, coexisted on Earth but largely remained out of each other's way. There is, however, an opposite theory of how Atlantis had a war with Mu, due to infiltration by the Anunnaki or the Martians, but that's a story for another time. These enigmatic presences and interventions cast a shadow of mystery over humanity's past, weaving a tapestry of cosmic connections and ancient secrets. Now that the world has been calm for thousands of years, the time has come for the end of the world again. Introducing the Great Flood. This is the end of part 1, but stay tuned for part 2, where I go into several global flood myths, the return of the Anunnaki, the rediscovery of Mu in the modern age, as well as go into the Mountains of Mu Pacific tour, starting in Hawaii, the Marquesas, Easter Island, and more.